Namaskar, Vanakkam and Pranam. We are here today again with another episode of Simha Talks, and this time we are going to discuss a topic that has foxed many people recently for some reason. For a long time, we didn't consider this necessary to talk about. What is Hindu? Who is Hindu? What is Hinduism? Is there anything known as Hinduism? Because ism itself is an anathema to the concept of the all-encompassing Hindu as a philosophy, if Hindu is a philosophy. So, what is Hindu, Hinduism, Hindutva? Is Hindu a geographical entity, people belonging to a certain place? Is it ethnical? Is it religious? It is philosophical. So, what is Hindu? Because a lot of people now we call Sanatan, the original, the timeless, as the religion. And then the question arises, do we have a religion? Are we a religion, or are we spiritual people for whom religion doesn't matter? There is no need for religion. So, what is Hindu? I will again like to hear from Shiv and from Shankar. Shiv, let's hear from you.
Namaste, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. As you very rightly said, the most appropriate and relevant term would be Sanatana Dharma, that which is eternal and timeless and there from the start. You can almost compare it to the law of matter of law of conservation of energy and mass, that energy can only be transformed from one form to another. While you have multiple theories put forth about how this word originated from a geographical location, and then later time made it into an identity per se, uh, if you wish, we can coin a term right now. Why one? We can coin two, three terms right now, and that can become and pick up, and people can write books on it, and it can become an internet sensation. With due respect, but here, the ultimate concept of Sanatana Dharma is, as you said, is it a religion? Is it a practice? Initially, when we start off in school, we used our fingers to count our tables, whether it was two times table or three times table. And if you remember, in our we would have a rough column where we'd sit and work it out. Later, now, if someone asks you 2 into 2, we really don't do this. We directly say 4. So similarly in Sanatana Dharma, the initial set of practices have been designed to make the mind and body one, to unite both together with that one cosmic tattva that pervades everything, outside, inside, and everything beyond. So the ultimate logic is to initially follow a certain system and later transcend that system and experience what you call as Bhagavan, Devata, energy, cosmos, universe, multiverse. Again, there's a whole set of names, and stay in tune with it. So, to just summarize, these words all we can see are recent additions and add additions to dictionaries. At the end of the day, we are all Sanatana Dharmis who are all attuning to the rhythm of nature.
So Sanatan Dharmis also. Now Sanatan means timeless, eternal, which was from the beginning, which is to the end. So that means it is not dependent upon human beings or upon anybody to set up any principles, for anybody to set up any rights and obligations. These are things which develop as part of nature, as part of evolution of nature. So that is Sanatana. And Dharma. Dharma, again, Dharma translation is not religion. Dharma is not religion. Dharma is righteousness. What is correct? The correct path. Different things could be correct at different times. Same thing could be correct for different people at different times, or different things could be correct for the same people at different times. So there are many different ways of correctness. What is right for me now may not be right for me at another time. So dharma itself is fluid to some extent, but some principles of dharma will be the same, will be immovable, will be unchangeable, will be eternal. So dharma is about righteousness, and righteousness translates into a quest for spiritualism rather than for any religion. So religion could at best be the crutches to climb the stairs towards dharma. Shankarji, I would like to know your opinion on what is Hindu. When we say Hindu, what should it mean actually, and what is Hinduism? Is there something known as Hinduism, or it's different?
Okay, when you look at all our old texts and all that, the word Hindu doesn't exist anywhere there. It's a recent coinage because somebody claimed I am so and so, I'm so and so and so and so, and they looked at us and they said, okay, now you don't fit into any of this. So what do we call you? So they gave us a geographical identity, the land beyond the Indus. So that's how we ended up with Hindu. So that actually basically, other than a geographical identity, it has no meaning. But now, having been identified as Hindu, who got identified as a Hindu? That is the point. That is the more important point, rather than who's Hindu. Who were those bunch of people who didn't fit into all the other definitions claimed by the rest of the planet? So who were these people? So these people were those living in Bharatavarsha. And they followed the system of Sanatana Dharma. Now we call Sanatana Dharma, basically they followed Dharma. And Dharma, again, it's like you said, righteousness, correctness. I don't know. It's very difficult to define it in any language. It is like it is the dharma of the lion to eat the deer. So is it right? It is wrong. It is correct. It is incorrect. That doesn't come into play at all here. That's why it's difficult to quantify or explain dharma without giving these very raw examples. Now, let us say you don't understand or believe in gravity. Now, what will gravity do? What is the dharma of gravity? To pull you to the earth. So, if you try to jump off a high place, saying that there is no gravity, I don't believe in gravity, because it's a Hindu concept, you will fall down and break your leg or die. So, again, that is the dharma of gravity. So now again, what is gravity? I mean, again, what is dharma as related to gravity, as related to the lion? So dharma basically is what your duty is for that particular activity, purpose, or entity. So to say, to even define it to just a human being or something also doesn't exist. Like I said, every principle in the universe has its own dharma that it has to follow. If it does not follow its dharma, there will be chaos. So that is the basic point of dharma. So we were people who followed dharma. That is why we don't have identities like, he is Greek or he is Chinese or anything like that. We had people who followed dharma and people who did not follow dharma. So those who did not follow dharma, we call them Rakshasas or Asuras. That is all, simple. So there was no, what shall we say, racism or anything like that. You followed the rules, you are a rule follower. You break the rules, you are a rule breaker. Simple, that's it. So when you say Hindu, we were those people who didn't fit the definition of the others, and we were those who followed dharma. That's all.
So like Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the whole world was one and not divided into Greek and Chinese and Indian and British or whatever. British didn't exist at that time. So those, when the religions came up, now they had the religions, of course, every religion had a reason to come up. Before these present existing religions came up, the whole world was full of people who followed something which was close to nature, which these people started calling as pagans or whatever. For some reason, these religions wanted to promote themselves, wanted to market themselves, wanted to bulldoze their way and get everybody to follow their commands, their commandments. So that's how religions came up. And when these religions came up, some people in Bharatvarsha also, with the passage of time, either by predatory or by proselytizing, converted or joined the new traditions. So I won't say converted; they joined the new traditions.
Not predatory or protesting. That is more recent. Those in the initial convert used it as a political tool
Yeah.
to grab power, because in those days, power was absolute. So people were always after power. That is why even all the fights that we had or the invasions that we had in that time before the religious faiths happened onto the planet, they were all only for power.
Mm.
So to grab power, somebody who could never become a king, for example, if he was able to get the funds of the church or something, or somebody else, or an opposing religious king, he would take it because he can then betray his king and become the king. So the initial set of what shall we say, conversions were more for grabbing power than the more modern concept where they do for proletization or for pecuniary gains, minor pecuniary gains.
Actually, as you rightly said, even the origin of religions happened for the sake of power, for the grabbing of power. Before that, people were living in alignment with nature, worshipping nature that they could see rather than worshipping the Almighty that they could not see. And then someone comes and says, all right, here is one person who represents God in whatever form, as a son, as a prophet, or whatever. And those religions were created, and especially in case of Christianity itself got created about 70 years after Christ's crucifixion, and the church itself got its push into a system 300 years later, Constantine. So they like we use Gandhi as a Mahatma, as an icon. So Christ possibly also got used as a prophet or son of God. And similarly, so the religion started. So when one religion started, then another one came up. So another one came up with to spread faster using the sword. So when these came up, then we needed to be given a name. So we were given a name by them as Hindu, the people of the Indus, the people after the just south of the Indus, or from their perspective, east of the Indus. That is how Hindu came up. And Hinduism also is a very recent concept. Now, what is so therefore, genetically, ethnically, every person living in Bharatvarsha should be a Hindu, and that person could follow any tradition. That person could be the follower of the ancient, oldest living tradition of the Sanatana, or could be following one of the religions. Sanatana, I would not like to call it religion. Some people can differ on that. Sanatan is eternal. It is how it evolves. So then, what is Hinduism? Then what is Hindutva? So, any thoughts on? Recently, there was this question of separating Hindu from the Hindutva, and what do you say on that, Shiv? And then we'd like to hear Shankar your comments. Hindu versus Hindutva, or Sanatan versus Hindutva.
Certain terms that have these prefixes and suffixes, for example, ism, like in science we have polymorphism, like that we started adding ism to any other things. So similarly, if you look at this word Hindutva, you can't really classify it in any language. So neither is it there in English Anglo-Saxon language, nor is it there in ancient languages like Sanskritam or Tamil. So as I said, we can give in a lot of names as long as, See, the more we identify ourselves with more concepts, new concepts, we are just creating a lot of confusion in an apparently already confused society. So, and right now, we really don't need any confusion, because if you see, as Sanatana Dharmis, our ultimate mantra is the Gayatri Mantra, which just talks about radiating the intellect. Because once your intellect is radiating and functioning, everything will be perfect. So, all these different terms, let's try to drop all labels and just try to follow righteousness, our duties, and our dharma.
And without falling into the trap of being boxed into any religions. We want to be people who are released into moksha and mukti rather than being controlled by religions. Shankar, your opinion.
Okay, so he, he has given the the Vedic answer to this rather useless question. But the useless question was prompted because of some political power mongering and other things that are happening right now in the current world. So that cannot be ignored. That has to be addressed. So to address this silly situation that we find ourselves in, not of our making, but of some vested interests, they are trying to create a feeling that Hindutva equates to terror. That is the narrative that they're trying to sell. So for that, I don't want to get into too much of it. We all know it's a fake, the paid narrative that they're trying to build up. Well, all the best to them. So there was just this one very simple statement made by somebody. I forget who it was. So he was referring to some politician who was talking about Hindutva and terror and Hitler, all the same line. So he was just telling him, okay, he is a Purusha without the Purusha Tattva. So I mean, it's like trying to eliminate the wetness of the ocean.
Right.
It's not possible. I mean, the nature, like I said, the dharma of the ocean is to be wet.
Right.
So the dharma of a Hindu is also to have this Hindutva, because I mean that is dharma, right? I mean, where is the question of it being different? I don't understand. And the violence part of it, I just don't understand. I mean, Hinduism has till date there has not been a single war that has been fought in the name of Hinduism. Like I said, all the wars happened because they just wanted power. That's it. There was never a war in the name of Hinduism. There have been multiple wars in the name of the Abrahamic faiths, too many to be listed. So for them to now try to put us into their own thinking is a very pitiful state of affairs, and I don't think we should be engaging with it. We should just expose it for what it is.
As you say, they will first criticize you when you are on the right path. They will criticize you. They will also hate you, but ultimately they will join you, because that's the only way. Not the way of my God is the only God, or my way is the only way, or my prophet is the only prophet. That cannot be the way of peace, tranquility, calm. The peace, tranquility, and calm will only come from Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. We see reactionary, whatever reactionary we see from the Sanatan Dharma right now is actually reactionary, because you are such so we have to be so. So this is a reaction. The moment the attacks, the constant, consistent attacks, unwarranted attacks on the civilization of Bharat, the oldest, the only one surviving, for which religion doesn't matter, for which spiritualism matters, for which the boundaries of faith do not matter. Multiple faiths can coexist. So that the only one. Ultimately, I'm sure the newer generations that are coming up are already questioning the one and only true God kind of concept. So there will be those questions, and finally those which are criticizing, those which are critical will join. will come into the will join, because we don't have a fold. They don't have to come into anybody's fold. Everybody live your own way and live a happy way on the righteous path, and that is the Sanatana. So welcome to Sanatana Dharma. Thank you so much. Namaskar, Vanakkam, Pranam, and Sat Sri Akal.